salam. Muawiyah ibn Ammar says, I heard from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam saying that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, among different things, advised Imam Ali about few things which are here. Kana fi wasiyyat al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam la aliyan alayhi salam an qala. This is in the wasiyya, in the will, in the advice of the Prophet to Imam Ali alayhi salam. So the one who gives this wasiyya is Rasulullah, and the person that Rasulullah gives wasiyya to him is the one that was very close to Rasulullah and very much loved by Rasulullah. So this makes this wasiyya very special because it's from the Prophet and for someone who was very dear to the Prophet. Although the Prophet loves everyone, but depending on the commitment, dedication, the level of that person, then the advice given could be different. So he said, Ya Ali, usika fi nafsika bi khisalin. O Ali, I enjoin you about yourself with respect to few traits of character. Normally, we are more attentive to the problems outside. And normally, we complain about the problems outside. Or we want to change the world outside. But the right approach is that without being heedless about the external world, without forgetting your social responsibilities, you have to start with the world inside. And you have to try to improve yourself first. I'm not saying first in the sense that you finish this and you go to the social side, but in the sense that you must start this before you start the other one. Even if for most part they go hand in hand, but your attention to fixing internal problems must come first. And without solving those problems, actually you cannot help that much with fixing the problems outside. You can yourself become a problem for the community, for the society. So these are all a matter of fi nafsik, something about yourself, the world inside you, O Ali. Fahfadha anni. So, O Ali, remember these things, preserve these things anni, from me. Means you receive this from me now, but try to keep it for yourself forever. And then Rasulullah prayed and said, Allahumma a'inhu. Oh Allah, please help Ali to be able to preserve and implement this. It shows that your own efforts, your own dedication and commitment are very much needed, but also you need assistance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ma tawfiqi illa billah. You cannot have tawfiq for finishing and completing the job except if Allah helps you. Now, let us see what are those things that Rasulullah is so much interested in and concerned about that he says, Imam Ali, that you must do this, and he prays also that Allah would help him. Ammal ula fasidqu wala yakhrujanna min fika kadhibatun abada. The first khasla, khisal is plural form for khasla. The first trait of character or characteristic is as-sidq, truthfulness, honesty. You remember in the discussion about akhlaq in the Hose, and also discussion about indicators of piety, and also discussion about aims and objectives of Islamic education. We said that truthfulness is the most fundamental quality in Islamic ethics. So, أما الأولى فالصدق. O Ali, لا يخرجن من فيك كذبة أبدا. Fi means fam, means mouth. Fu, fa, fi are three conditions depending on the function. If it is marfu, mansub, majroor, but all comes from fam. No lie should come out of your mouth at any point. Never any lie should come out of your mouth. Of course, sidq has different dimensions. One part of sidq, which is very important, is not to tell lie. But we have sidq about intention and other things as well, about your beliefs. But the minimum is make sure that you don't tell any lie. Number 2, وَالثَّانِيَةُ الْوَرَعُ. O Ali, in addition to sidq, you should have wara'. Wara' means taqwa, means piety. Not to do anything against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to commit any sin. وَلَا تَجْتَرِعْ عَلَى خِيَانَةٍ أَبَدًا. O Ali, don't dare betraying for anything. Never betray. Never dare even betraying, because sometimes you dare doing something and it doesn't happen, but still it's a sign of your lack of respect that you dared doing that. وَالثَّالِثَةُ الْخَوْفُ مِنَ اللَّهِ عَزَّ ذِكْرُهُ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. The third characteristic is fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Azza zikruh, may his name or his remembrance or his mention be dignified. Fear from him as if you see him. كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. If you were seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all his greatness, how much you would have feared, how much awe you would have towards him. This is of course positive fear out of understanding your weakness and Allah's greatness. وَالرَّابِعَةِ, the fourth thing, after sidq, after wara', after khawf, the fourth thing, كَثْرَةُ الْبُكَاءِ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ. Cry a lot for or out of understanding the greatness of Allah, understanding how much you must respect him, a kind of deep sense of awe. يُبْنَى لَكَ بِكُلِّ دَمْعَةٍ أَلْفُ بَيْتٍ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. For every tear that you shed out of fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, 1,000 houses will be built for you in heaven. This shows the value of fear and tear. Positive fear I'm talking about. Number 5, الخامسة بذلك مالك ودمك دون دينك. To spend your money and to give your blood for your religion. When it comes to your faith, either your own faith that you have to preserve, or to preserve your religion, Islam, you should be happy to give your money or blood. والسادسة الأخذ بسنتي في صلاتي وصومي وصدقتي. The sixth thing is you must follow my sunnah. With respect to prayer, which is my prayer, with respect to my prayer, you should follow my style of prayer. Sawmi, my prayer, my style of fasting. Wa sadaqati, my style of charity. So my sunnah has these important elements: element of prayer, element of charity, element of fasting. Amma salah, what do we mean by salah? Do we mean 17 rak'ah daily ritual prayers? No, it's more than that. Fal khamsuna rak'ah, 50 rak'ah. 17 rak'ah fara'id, wajibat. But then we have also nawafil. Nawafil are 34, and with 17 becomes 51. But we will later inshallah discuss and bring hadith to show that out of these 34, the 2 rak'ah nafila wutaira after salat isha is different. This is not in the first circle. This is not as important as the other 33. And actually some hadith, for example, hadith from Imam Raza, we can understand that this is done. Please listen very carefully. These 2 rak'ah, when you are sitting after Salat Isha, it is done as a kind of backup for the 1 rak'ah prayer, Salatul Watr, after Salatul Shafa. In case if someone doesn't get opportunity, doesn't have health or other means to do that 1 rak'ah, we say 2 rak'ah sitting now, just in case if we are going to miss that, so that we don't miss everything. But when the time of Salatul Watr comes, then you have to bring it. This would not suffice it. In any case, inshallah we will talk about this. 17 rak'ah wajibat, 33 or 34, if you want to mention also all of it, nawafil, and sadaqati, charity. Charity is part of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Amma salatu fal khamsuna rak'ah, prayer 50 rak'ah. Amma siyam, what do we mean by siyam? Fasting. Fasting of the month of Ramadan? Of course, but it's more than that. Every month we should fast 3 days, if your health permits that. If you fast 3 days, then because man ja'a bil hasana falahu ashru amthalaha is like you have fasted 30 days. Of course, if you fast 30 days, it will be rewarded more, but at least reward is given for then all the year. So, amma siyam fa thalathatu ayyamin fi shahr, 3 days in the month. Which days are better to choose? Al-Khamis fi awwalihi, the first Thursday. Wal-Arba'a fi wasatihi, the middle Wednesday, just in the middle of the night, Wednesday. Wal-Khamis fi akhiri, and again Thursday at the end. So Thursday in the beginning of the month, the first Thursday, the last Thursday, and the middle Wednesday. Wa amma sadaqah fajuhdaka or fajahdaka, but juhd is better, although both of them are mentioned. Hatta taqul qad asraftu. When it comes to sadaqah, you should try hard to the extent that you would tell yourself, I have done in excess. I have given too much sadaqah. But Rasulullah says, walam tusraf. You have not given too much sadaqah. You feel you have given too much sadaqah. Unless you reach the point that you feel you have given too much, it's not sufficient. Of course, we will talk about it later. It doesn't mean that you make yourself bankrupt, you make your family, suffer a lot. But it means that for those who can afford, they should give as much as they feel they have reached, really, or they have transgressed the borders, the limits. If you remember in some of the lectures about charity, I have said you cannot fix the quantity of charity, but based on لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, you would not achieve goodness and piety unless you give what you love. My understanding is that you must give that much that you feel painful. You feel something is taken away from you. In the same way that God forbids, if you lose your child, if you lose, for example, a student who has been working on dissertation and dissertation is lost, the computer, for example, you have lots of data without backup, you feel you have lost. That sense of losing something valuable to you must happen in sadaqah also, so that it can work for your self-purification. خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً, take from the property some sadaqah, تُطَهِّرُهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ بِهَا, to detach them from dunya. So unless we give that much, it's not working properly. Like as we said, if you are just walking very relaxed way, it's good for your health, but normally doctor says that you have to walk fast, either run or walk fast, do some exercise, so that your breathing then becomes a little bit difficult, and then it's really starting to work. So Rasulullah says to Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, when it comes to sadaqah, you must do juhdaka, do your mujahada, means really work hard, to the extent that you would say qad asraft, I have done israf, means I have done it too much, I have done in excess. Walam tusraf, but there is no israf here. Again, if someone doesn't listen our future discussions, it doesn't mean that, for example, I sell everything and without having proper job and income, I become 100% poor and put myself and family in difficulty. No, but it means that if rationally, and I mean rationality of a faithful person who does tawakkul in Allah, not rationality of a person whose interest is only dunya. If as a mu'min, rationally, you think you are okay, and it's just a matter of giving extra or saving or something like this, or something that you can give and then you can take it back from next income or next few incomes, then you should be happy to give. Inshallah, we will talk about it. وَعَلَيْكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ اللَّيْلِ. Oh Ali, you must also be very concerned about Salatul Layl. وَعَلَيْكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ اللَّيْلِ. وَعَلَيْكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ اللَّيْلِ. When it comes to Salatul Layl, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam 3 times mentions Salatul Layl. For anything so far, he didn't emphasize that much. And then وَعَلَيْكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ الزَّوَالِ, وَعَلَيْكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ الزَّوَالِ, وَعَلَيْكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ الزَّوَالِ. And then Salatul Dhuhr. 3 times Rasulullah emphasized on Salatul Dhuhr, which is very important, is one of the pillars of our day, is Salatul Dhuhr. Perhaps it means do it properly, not just do it properly on time, in jama'ah if possible, with nawafil, proper Salatul Dhuhr. وَعَلَيْكَ بِتِلَاوَةِ الْقُرْآنِ عَلَى كُلِّ حَالٍ. Also, you must recite the Quran in all circumstances. Whenever you have chance, you are waiting somewhere, you are, walking, you are driving, there is no one else, you can recite few things, by memory, by heart, by listening to, audio, whatever. As much as, of course, you don't overwhelm yourself. Because for such things, you have to be careful not to overwhelm yourself, because then your nafs can rebel against everything. But little by little, tame your nafs and train your nafs, and do it as much as you enjoy and a little extra. So if you enjoy, for example, 10 minutes, do 11 minutes. so that you build, inshallah, upon that, but not too much more than what you enjoy, because then your nafs can rebel and become, hostile. وعليك برفع يديك في صلاتك وتقليبهما. Also, in salat, you should raise your hand and also to turn it. Inshallah, we will explain. And also, عليك بالسواك عند كل وضوء. For every wudu ablution that you make, brush your teeth. وعليك بمحاسن الأخلاق فارتكبها ومساوئ الأخلاق أو مساوئ الأخلاق فاجتنبها. Also, you must be committed to good traits of character and bring them, and avoid bad traits of character and leave them. Avoid them. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلْ, if you don't do this or these, doesn't say which one. فَلَمْ تَفْعَلْ, the last one, or لَمْ تَفْعَلْ, all of them. Maybe it means all of them. فَلَا تَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَكَ, don't blame except yourself. Don't blame others. Don't blame, parents or teachers or community or society or the world, dunya, shaitan, nafsa ammara is the main problem. Nafsa ammara, which is inside. لا تلومن إلا نفسك.